A little bit more now about the ramifications for the results right across the world. We're going to head to Beijing, talk to our correspondent who joins us from there, Yena Lee. Yena, we're looking as though it's going to be a Donald Trump presidency then. What's Beijing's view on Donald Trump? What could this mean for the relations, if you like, between the two?
Well, with a Trump presidency, Beijing could very well be getting ready for round two of the trade war between the two countries. You'll remember before he first became president, Donald Trump spent much of the campaign trail blaming China for the Americans' economic problems. And when he entered the White House, he delivered on what he said. He slapped tariffs on steel, on batteries, on satellites, and much more. He really ramped that up. And then when Joe Biden came to power, he slowed down the speed of the trade war, but he kept most of the sanctions in place and even added new restrictions on everything related to high technology, chips, AI, etc. So the trade war had no signs of stopping, whoever wins the election. But with Trump, well, it's likely to be a much more sudden, more impactful version that's going to come. Currently, there's an average of around 19 to 20% of tariffs on Chinese imports coming into the United States. That's an average. Electric vehicles, for example, they're tariffed at 100%, but the Republican candidate Donald Trump has pledged to make that number go up to at least 60% on all products. He said that. Will that happen? We'll have to wait and see. But this is, of course, of huge concern to Beijing. In fact, here, the National People's Congress, the Chinese rubber stamp parliament, if you like, was supposed to meet at the end of October to discuss stimulus plans. But they pushed back the date of that all-important meeting to now. It's taking place between November 4th and November 8th because the outcome of this election clearly matters to people here in China, and it could very much have an impact on what they decide when it comes to their own economy. But if you take a step back and look at the wider picture, a Trump presidency isn't all too bad for Beijing either. His lack of predictability, his demeanor, as well as his isolationist foreign policy, these things could all confirm President Xi Jinping's view that the East is rising and the West is declining.
Yeah, in terms of foreign policy, then, what does it mean for the wider region?
Well, a Trump presidency could actually be quite favorable to Beijing in terms of foreign policy and long-term goals. Trump's America First vision, his isolationist ideas really indicate that he doesn't see a strong link between peace on the Taiwan Strait, the Korean Peninsula, or the South China Seas with peace and prosperity for the American people. Trump doesn't see the point of investing heavily anywhere in the world, not least in Asia. Last time he was president, he demanded that South Korea pay 5 times more for the cost of keeping U.S. soldiers based there. This year, he's been demanding Taipei should pay as well for U.S. protection. And these kinds of cracks in the alliance are worrying for all his allies and friends of Washington in the region. We're talking about South Korea, of course, Japan, the Philippines, and Taiwan. And all of this is music to Beijing's ears, especially in the context of a competition for influence in this all-important Indo-Pacific region.
Yena, thanks very much. Yena Lee, our correspondent, talking to us live there from Beijing.